call the meeting to order on Tuesday, March 20th at 6:35 PM. Opening statement.
Let the minutes reflect that adequate notice of the holding of this regular meeting of the Howell Township Council was provided for in the following manner: by the posting of a copy of said notice upon the bulletin board in the Township Municipal Building on January 5, 2018, by the faxing of a copy of said notice to the Tri-Town News, Asbury Park Press, and Star Ledger for information and publication on January 5, 2018, by the filing of a copy of said form of notice in the Township Clerk's Office on January 5, 2018. The public will be allowed to attend and will be allowed to participate pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law. The public is reminded that civility and decorum will be maintained during the meeting. Any contracts awarded at this meeting or between now and the next meeting will be required to comply with the requirements of Public Law 1975, Chapter 127. In accordance with the Fire Prevention Code, be advised that this facility is designed with emergency exits for your safety. Upon exiting the meeting room, they are to your left and to your right. Furthermore, smoking is not permitted in the municipal building. Please take note that this meeting is being videotaped for possible future broadcast on Howell Television. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell.
Here.
Mrs. Smith has an excused absence this evening. Mr. Walsh.
Yeah, I forgot these meetings were televised, okay.
Mr. Nicastro.
Here.
Mayor Berger.
Present. Is there any reason to go into executive committee this evening?
Yes, ma'am. We have potential litigation and contract negotiations to discuss.
More litigation.
Motion to go in executive.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you.
More litigation.
Whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell is authorized pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 to exclude the public from that portion of the meeting for purposes of discussing specific matters as permitted by NJSA 10:4-12. Whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell intend to discuss certain matters which are deemed confidential pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12. Whereas at this time, the governing body of the Township of Howell cannot determine the time when the discussion to be held in executive session will be made public, but will disclose the minutes of executive session when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the Township of Howell that this meeting shall be adjourned to an executive session, and the public will be excluded in order that the previously listed items, may discuss the items previously listed, and upon reconvening this public meeting, the presiding officer will announce, if possible, the time when and the circumstance under which a discussion conducted in executive session will be disclosed to the public. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mr. Nicastro.
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
Yes. I would like to call the meeting to order at 7:35, March 20th, 2018. The executive session minutes from tonight's meeting can be disclosed to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. If we could please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then a moment of silence for the killings that occurred today in the school. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May I have a motion to accept the minutes from March 6, 2018?
If we don't need a separate vote, I'll
You
make
don't.
it for the 6th and the
Okay,
9th.
perfect.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mr. Nicastro.
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
Yes. Are there any reports from the officials?
Just one quick one from me, Mayor. With the impending snowstorm tomorrow, we had our code enforcement department go out today and canvass some of our problem neighborhoods again in an effort to give people more of a heads up to get their cars off the street. So we passed out about 400 letters today on people's windshields just to give a little extra reminder, get your car off the street so that DPW can do a better job plowing. So just want to let you know that
Was
was
there
done.
anything sent
Thank you.
out through social media?
Yes, there was.
Thank you.
And we also put our variable message signs up around town and
That I
changing
saw.
signs to give everybody a heads up.
I sent you an email from someone today. She was a nurse, a critical care nurse, I believe.
Yes, that was forwarded to both DPW and our OEM.
Okay, thank you very much.
Additionally, just for the record, the mayor just declared a state of emergency for the pending storm, just so you're aware.
Okay, should we go?
Nope. We're here.
When will you let us know if you and the OEM is going to declare one for the town?
We're looking at in the morning, probably doing that, but I'll let you know.
And just then you'll note what the emergency declares.
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to open the hearing of citizens and for public comment.
There's none on the roster.
Elaine Taylor is raising her hand.
It's all good.
Great for TV. Elaine Taylor, Maxim Southard Road. Is this on?
Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering if you had a chance to peruse the farmer's market plan.
I have to tell you,
Excuse me,
I
ma'am.
just received it, so no, I have not.
Okay. Anybody?
I think we all just received it, right?
Oh, okay.
Ms. Taylor, I sent you an email earlier today with a few questions about it.
Oh,
I
I
don't know
didn't
if you
get it.
received it yet.
No.
Okay,
No, I
it
didn't
was
check
sent
my-
earlier
I didn't
today.
check my emails. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay. I will close this section of the meeting to go to the consent agenda.
Is there any reason why we couldn't combine these, the 9As?
No, we could combine the 9As, it's the 9Bs, but we'll do the 9Bs
Second.
probably second
Right, I
because you
think
have,
9B1 is the only one that's not on consent. Everything else, when you make a consent motion, just understand that it's anything with the asterisk. So it's
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
9As and Bs excluding 9B1.
So I'll make a motion to approve 9A1 through and including 9A9.
9A10, and then
Wait a minute.
your motion should, can I make the motion?
I'm sorry.
9A1 through 9A10, and then B2 through B4.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the prelim.
I'll second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. There is an appointment to zoning board, which would be 9B1. Is there,
Yes, I'd like to make a recommendation if I could. I'd like us to consider Matthew Hughes for the 4-year appointment. His,
I'll second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
I have no problem with them, yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
sure. Okay, public hearings on ordinances. Okay, this is 10.1, amend land use impervious coverage, Schedule 3, schedule of bulk and dimensional requirements in residential zones. Ordinance number 0-18-2, introduced and passed on the first reading on 3/6/18 and published according to law, is now being taken up for further consideration and public hearing. Affidavit of publication of this ordinance in the Asbury Park Press issue of 3/9/18 is submitted and is noted that a copy of the ordinance has been posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building and that copies were available to the general public upon request.
My turn?
Your turn.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Article 1, Schedule 3, Schedule of Bulk and Dimensional Requirements, Residential Zones of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
I will open up this portion if anyone wants to come up and talk about this. There seeing no one, may I have a motion?
Just to note, this was found consistent with the planning board, so I'll make a motion that ordinance number O-18-2 be finally passed and adopted, and that notice of its passage and adoption be published in the March 23rd, 2018 issue of the Asbury Park Press by reference to its title only.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. 10.2, amend land use abandonment. Ordinance number 0-18-3, introduced and passed on first reading on 3/6/18 and published according to law, is now being taken up for further consideration and public hearing. Affidavit of publication of the ordinance in the Asbury Park Press issue of 3/9/18 is submitted. It is now noted that a copy of the ordinance has been posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and that copies are available to the general public upon request.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Article 6, Section 188-39, entitled Abandonment of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
I would like to open up this portion for discussion on this topic. I'll close the section. I would like a motion, please.
I'll make a motion that ordinance number 0-18-3 be finally passed and adopted, and that notice of its passage and adoption will be published in the March 23rd, 2018 issue of the Asbury Park Press by reference to its title only.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. R-18-102 is the introduction of the 2018 municipal budget. May I have a motion to introduce the budget?
Do we need anything from the manager, the CFO? Are we all good?
I do have a question, if I may. So the capital outlay last year was 300,000. This year it was up to 425,000. Why?
Yes, ma'am. I had increased the capital outlay to that goes towards our 5% down payment for our capital projects. That increase of $125,000 was offset with revenue from our capital surplus. So basically, it's a way to move capital surplus from our general capital fund, and I'm funding that increase in the capital improvement fund monies, which fund our 5% down payment to beef up our capital improvement fund monies.
Okay, and the other thing, there was, you increased your reserve for uncollectible taxes by 87,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell me why?
Based on levy estimates for our municipal levy, as well as the other levies that we collect for the schools, the county, the fire districts, based on the estimates of what I have estimated so far, we've only have received a few certified levies from some of the fire districts as their budgets were subsequently adopted earlier last month. So in order that we're statutorily required to have a reserve for uncollected taxes, based on the estimate of what we think those levies will be, we estimated based on the same collection percentage as last year, and that was the increase based on the estimated levies that was used for the calculation, as we pay out 100% of the levies to the schools, the county, and we basically have to take the difference for the non-payers. So in order to,
That comes out of our budget?
yes, ma'am.
We're owed the money, but we have to pay it out. We're the collector of the taxes, so.
So in order to, in case, the levies of those other levying districts increase, we needed to increase our proportional share in order to cover any increases on their end that could come to fruition this year.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor, so you know, in a declining market where we lose a lot of tax appeals, we're responsible to pay all the money to the entities, and it gets eaten up by the general fund of the municipality. On the flip side, when new things come on board, new construction, we keep that until the following year.
Okay.
So,
You keep the first year?
well, when it comes on board, it may not come on until September, October,
right.
November. It's prorated. But when we get hit, like in 2009, 2008, we got hit very hard. Like the whole villages won their tax appeal. I think 500 homes.
Well, the only good thing is the ADP program,
Yes.
with the timing, has now allowed us to know what our shortfall is going to be before we strike this budget.
It's a lot better than doing one reval and getting hit all at once. Yeah. I actually like the program where 20%'s redone a year.
Yeah.
It's more beneficial to everybody in the long run once they accept it. So,
Who would like to introduce the budget?
I don't have anything. You want us to read a resolution or not?
I believe it's just a motion and a second and a roll call vote, sir.
But it is.
Okay. I motion that we accept the introduction of the 2018 municipal budget.
Is there a second?
No, Mayor.
Mayor, if I may, I just want to make a comment. Although this budget is a responsible budget, because we'll still continue to provide the services that we have to provide, for me, the only way to continue a conversation is not to introduce this budget or to vote supporting to introduce this budget. We've had numerous conversations up here. I think I brought to the attention the governing body of a bill that was recently introduced, S1, talks about consolidation and shared services. We haven't had a conversation. I know the mayor asked for essential and non-essential employees, and as far as I know, I don't know what the outcome was. But all I know is that as responsible as this budget is, the tax levy is still going up. And if we continue this path, I don't see how it's sustainable in this town. So until we engage in other conversations on how we're going to fix that, I can't support introducing this budget. The governor just came out with his school funding formula. Howell Township is getting like 1%. It's a joke. Monmouth County, I think in general, is getting a little over 2%. If that's the way this is going to continue, I don't see how we're going to control taxes in this town. So that's my reasons of not seconding this motion.
Well, again, you're talking over $2 million, and I realize some of the costs are fixed, but we're looking at health costs for $25,000 to $27,000 per employee, and that's our portion to put in. So when we look at numbers that we have no control over, then we need to do something desperately drastic to numbers we can control. We never want to cut services, and my hope is that we never do, but we definitely need to reform, rethink, and redigest what we really need to do to make this budget palatable.
You know, if I remember correctly, 2000, when was the recession that you, 2007?
7, 8.
It was 2008 to 2011.
You know, one of the hardest things that, at that time, the governing body had to decide was, you know, infrastructure repairs, for example. Streets weren't getting paved in this town, you know? If you're gonna maintain infrastructure, and you're gonna continue to have expenses that you just explained, the uncontrollable, how are you gonna fix this? You know?
Well, unless somebody comes up with some solutions, I mean, these are facts. Okay, we just voted on a contract. That contract cost us $185,000 in raises. No, excuse me, 105. Regular step increases were 317. Allowance for other unions that we have to settle contracts, because we have all our other unions read a contract, correct?
Correct.
So we put 2% in there as a number, hoping we meet that. That's 185,000. We have longevity pay, which is 53,000. Okay? We have the SLEOs, we have the police in school, which I'm voting, just so you know, I will vote no to any budget that doesn't have the police in school. One, we made an agreement with the police, we made an agreement with the Board of Ed, and I'm honoring the word I said then. Okay, that's 202,000. It's really 150 because we have money coming back. Okay? I mean, you look at these things, pension billing was up 87,000. Pension billing for the PFRS was 208,000. Social Security tax increase was 148,000. Okay, employee health benefits was 136,000. Utilities, 73,000. I mean, unless you just tell me where you want to drastically cut costs, unless you just tell me that. The cost of doing business is going up. And the only place to really cut costs in a drastic fashion is by consolidating departments or by eliminating employees, which is going to eliminate services. Okay, I suggested a deputy to Jim Herman because I think that will increase revenue. You have an expense side and a revenue side. I believe having another talented person in that department, maybe we don't hand out 500,000-600,000 in contracts. Maybe we only hand out 4. It leaves us 200 to the good. That employee ends up costing us 150, plus they're doing other things that need to be done. I mean, years ago, we stopped with the legal department. We have a very competent in-house attorney. That say it does approximately $250,000 a year. We got rid of the recreation department about 7, 8 years ago. People complained. I don't think one child, not even adults, have not played lacrosse, hockey, volleyball, baseball, football. I think they've done everything they could. We eliminated the recreation department. About 13 years ago, we eliminated Health and Human Services, saved $400,000. Our police department is still 7 under what it was in 2007. Just the cost of doing business goes up. And unless people want to talk about merging services with either the county or other towns or eliminating employees, where are you going to get the money from? It comes from increased revenue or raising taxes. Because of surplus this year, we will not have to raise taxes. But it's not making the cost, no matter what you do. This list of cost, out of $3 million, 2.7 million of it you cannot touch. 90% of it you cannot touch. Are we all on the same page there? Does anybody think
No, you're absolutely right.
okay? Deputy Mayor, you with
Totally
me there?
correct.
All right.
Totally correct.
So unless somebody wants to talk directly about where they want to cut expenses, we just got cut 150 to 175,000 just a week and a half ago when the state passed a new law that you don't have to get permits for roofs and siding. Now we no longer get those permit fees or those inspection fees. Is that correct, Mr. Herman? Correct. I mean, why they would have done something like that, now you basically have given anybody who's not insured, not experienced, the ability to come in and do roofs and siding. I don't know where that benefited the people. I don't know. It just took a layer of safety. Now it's almost like if you get your roof done, you better beware, because there's no protection coming from the town. But we lost 100, is that a fair number? 150 to 175,000 a year in revenue?
Yeah, I believe 140 and change was the number based on last year's numbers. So, to be safe, 150,
With everything else increasing, can I be safe?
you're going to be safe.
Thank you. So listen, I'm for introducing the budget, okay? I'm willing to say things are costing. Unless you want to tell me where, I'm not gonna go home tonight, but I'm done talking. So you all tell me what you'd like to cut, and I'll tell you whether or not I'll consider it or vote for it or not. Because I'm up front.
Yeah, I think we're all up front. I think I sat up here when we had to make those tough decisions to cut recreation and some of those other cuts. So I've been up here during those tough times. We haven't had those conversations of late. And with all due respect to the mayor, I mean, there was questions asked. We went through this exercise at the last meeting. I want to have that exercise again.
Well, let me ask this question, Lou. Do you need to have a vote no matter what this evening? That's the question. I mean, I don't know. Do you need it for paperwork? I just don't know. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's as of right now, the state has language in their local finance notice that if the budget is not adopted in a timely manner by the governing body, that the council members and the township could be subjected to fines for not timely adopting the budget. So it's we are up against state deadlines per se. So it's, as far as whether the budget gets introduced or not tonight, I don't necessarily think I need a vote. I mean, obviously, if the budget was to be introduced tonight, we would we would handle it, in the proper manner and go forth. But it's to the council's discretion.
Where do you stand, Mayor, in this? Truthfully, me and you have had personal conversations. Where do you stand on this?
I've thought long and hard. I actually think that it was a much better budget than last year. I was extremely surprised. This budget last year, when I actually compared them, when I reviewed both of them, I have to say that we are still going up, and that is a concern for me. I think yourself and Lou did, and Brian, did a really good job in what you cut. I myself, though, we still went up in the budget. So I would make a second to introduce it.
Well, then hand the gavel over to the deputy mayor and second the motion. You can do that at any time.
I'll make a second.
Okay, so noted. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell.
No.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro.
No.
Mayor Berger.
No. Did it matter?
It mattered to me. So that matters. Mattered to me.
You were right this evening, Bob. Everything that you said this evening was absolutely correct.
We're gonna have to do something, people. Whatever it is. If we wanna have some tough conversations about consolidating departments, about eliminating employees, then let's get after it. Let's not play cat and mouse.
I second that.
Well, then let's go. Then let's go. I mean, come on, people. I'm going away Thursday. Now for sure, if the airport's closed, I'm driving. I don't care if it's into the teeth of the storm. Okay, I was gonna go to Myrtle Beach. I'll drive to Canada.
It's the wrong way.
Lou, do you have the number for all the line items in every department that was pertaining to contracts for communications? What that number totaled? Service contracts, nothing to do with salaries and benefits and everything. Just service contracts and upgrades and all that kind of stuff.
I could get together for you any information with the budget that you would need, absolutely.
Are we going to schedule another meeting? Because obviously, we're not going to get answers.
You know, well, but whatever, listen, how are we gonna get closer to doing the budget, in all sincerity? Unless we're going to cut departments or cut employees, you're not cutting the, Lou, do you have a calculator handy?
Councilman, I
have a
don't suspect
phone.
that we're going to be able to cut enough out of this budget to get a flat tax levy. That's not going to happen. What I am saying is, at some point, something has to drive this conversation. And by there not being a vote tonight, hopefully that's driving this conversation. Right? Let's have the conversation.
Listen, I'm not shy, I'm in for talking. Okay, anybody think I'm shy? Come on, people. I mean, I don't know what else to do. You got that calculator handy?
Yes, sir.
All right, I just want to fool around with this so that I'm exact. 185, add 105, add 317, 54, 92. Just so you know, I'm getting rid of any new employees. 202. Subtract 52 from that, Lou. Upgrade request, none. Forget that 43. Proposed overtime increases. If overtime happens, overtime happens. Don't put it in the budget, you pay a shortfall later. Okay. Debt service increase, 1254. Pension for PERS, 87. Pension for PFRS, 208. Unless you fire a whole bunch of employees, Social Security tax increase, 148. It's a joke, we're only adding 130 for outside legal counsel. I told you we're gonna get hit with a lot of lawsuits. 130 is gonna be a walk in the park, but put 130 just to amuse me. Employee health benefits, 136,000. I may switch over to the Board of Ed, my wife's a teacher, so that will save us the general fund, but it won't save the town. My wife's a teacher. Utilities, 73. EMS, 28. What do they equal, my friend?
The amount that is listed, that was the increase of the contractual amount based on their annual allocation. That was an increase over last year's amount that was
Okay, but
necessary.
I just eliminated certain things. The numbers I just gave you, what did they equal?
$2,967,813.
All right, so $2,967,000 went up on stuff we have no control over unless we eliminate departments or employees. Now, remember, if we eliminate employees, we pay the unemployment for 6 months, correct?
Yes, sir.
So unless we eliminate departments, people, we got 2.9 million in cost this year. And mind you, some of that's the price you pay for fixing the 25 miles of roads that were fixed, things that had to be done. Okay? But tell me where we're gonna cut I don't think we can tell the state we're not paying these bills. I don't think we can tell the unions we're not gonna pay them. So I'm gonna need some suggestions on what departments we either wanna get rid of employees, or what departments we wanna merge, or, what we wanna try to do with some other towns or the county. That's what I need, because those numbers were I just read them from here. Lou, you give me truthful numbers, Lou?
As truthful as I could, sir.
Okay, I'm just checking with you, just want to make sure, in case somebody calls me a liar at the gym tomorrow or something, all right? And mind you, I took out the proposal for any new employees, so they were gone. Even though one of them I think makes us money, because now you're gonna take that money out of the revenue portion too. You take that assistant to Jim Herman off, take the money out of the revenue portion that we added. I think we're going home soon, people. I think we're gonna have a meeting on April 3rd too. Maybe in Disney World, but man, we have a meeting.
We're having it without you.
I'm good. God bless everybody.
May I ask, with your essential, non-essential, was there anything that you found that you thought?
So the problem that I have, by just looking at the report that I have, I don't know, longevity of the employees. I don't know if that makes a difference versus new employees. I don't know how, it's not on this when I looked at it. I didn't know that I was gonna need to look at it tonight, so I would have asked for that to be included. So I can't, it just says if
That's
it's
fair. That's
full-time
okay.
or part-time, and most of them are full-time. So I really can't make it, it would not be fair.
We have about 50 less employees than we had 10, 11 years ago. We have 3 less departments. There's a cost of doing business in this world, and we all know it.
Yes. Well, I just got a notification that the mall was closed.
Yeah, it's getting bad out there. So I requested that, being that we need our purchasing agent is retiring, if there's a possibility to do a shared service. I think the manager said that he's looking into that. I requested some numbers for contracts and so unless anybody else has other stuff that you want to.
Yeah, the last New Jersey League magazine talked about a director of public safety, and that would be bringing in, sharing services with ourselves, just bringing them under one umbrella. I'd be interested in knowing what that can do for us financially.
Could you explain that to me?
That would be police, EMS, fire, bringing everybody under one umbrella. I know other towns, other municipalities are doing it. It must be for money. I can't imagine why they would make any changes if it weren't a saver. Maybe we need to look at that, instead of getting rid of things and taking away services, if we consolidate, maybe we can actually offer more service. But we have to do something, because next year's budget's going to be worse, and so on and so on. So we put the brakes on now, or every year we are in aghast at how much more we have to go to the taxpayer. I don't see any other way around this except to consolidate. Because I'm not looking forward to giving up any of the services. As a matter of fact, our roadways, we do as much as we can. We should be in a position we do more. We have so many roadways that aren't addressed every year because financially they can't be. So there's something wrong with the plan that we have at hand. So if we're not going to get rid of service, then consolidation has to be one of the opportunities we look at. I don't know what else to offer, but this isn't going to work anymore. It doesn't work this year, And I have a feeling for the next 50 years, it's not going to work. Because I don't see prices going down on health care or insurance or
No,
Social
they're not. They
Security.
go up almost 30%
So-
a year.
You know, unless somebody's got magic, I don't know where to go with this.
Like I said, the first bill that came out in 2018 from the legislators was S1. Do you know what S1 was?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Consolidation and shared services.
Well, there you
So
go.
clearly there's,
There's
if
some
that's the first
momentum.
bill that the legislators feel that need to be looked at, that should be the signal that that has to be looked at everywhere.
Looks like I accidentally fell on something. Thank you, Rob.
So, just for my own, if you're talking about shared services, then I would like to know what services can be shared or not be shared. Unfortunately, I could come up with what I think could be shared, but I don't know if that's the case. One, two, who we would share them with, what the cost would possibly be. I mean, if you want to talk about
Cost
that.
or savings.
Well, yeah.
You mean other municipalities or within ourselves?
Well, I don't know the model, so I don't know which one would be
Right.
better.
What kind of days are we looking at, Lou? Our deadline? Before the state gets very angry.
Well, the deadline date that was prescribed by the state was April 20th, or the next available meeting, so our April 20th for adoption of the budget.
Right.
So our April 17th meeting would have had us compliant with the state. Introducing the budget this evening would have given us the 28-day required gap between introduction and public hearing on the budget. So, yes, correct. So if we don't do it today, we, in the eyes of the state, we would have not timely introduced our budget.
And then what happens?
Well, one thing for sure is there's a hiring freeze.
I meant with the budget.
Oh, it does, yeah,
As per the local finance notice, the state could subject governing body members to a daily fine of $25 for not being compliant. It's what the local finance notice says.
I pay no fine, nobody. You tell 'em.
I just giving you the black and white.
Well, I'd be open to have a special meeting as long as we got the information that we were all requesting and try to still get this budget in at a timely manner. But like I said, I've been asking for this conversation to take place. And
You can't, we'd have to have the meeting Thursday in order to have the 28-day period before you voted.
I mean, I would think that, a couple days within,
the state is very slow, so I don't think 30 days in a month is going to make.
Something, a couple days a week, I don't necessarily think that they would find fault in that. Something a little bit more egregious, say 2 months, that's something that would stick out like a sore thumb. So,
We're gonna be no further along next time. It's all right. Whatever you all wanna do is okay with me. I am going away though Thursday. I may go to Iceland. Now I'm starting to think about it.
When are you coming back, Bob?
It's green there.
Depends on the weather. We'll do a little ice fishing.
Good idea.
Miss Moneypenny, put that in the minutes, huh? You
Going to
to
Iceland?
Mayor, what dates?
Going to Iceland.
When, this week or next week? Well, he's gone
Everybody have a nice
Thursday.
Passover and Easter?
Thursday? I think he comes back the following. Bob, when do you come back?
I really don't know. Depends on the weather. It really does depend on the weather.
10 days, 12 days, 14 days?
Yeah, it depends. If I can get out Thursday morning, I'm coming back next Tuesday. If I can't get out to Saturday, I'm coming back next Friday.
Well, Friday's Good Friday, so that's out.
That's out.
And I have Passover dinner at my house on Saturday, for those that accuse me of being anti-Semitic. Passover dinner will be at my house. Everybody's welcome.
I'll be there. 29?
Next week?
You just don't need me.
What time? I just have to go to the doctor in the
My
morning.
wife says that sometimes. I don't need you, Bobby.
Don't we have planning board?
Put that in a minute. baby.
Yeah, put it in a minute.
It's a Wednesday, isn't it?
This Thursday we have planning board? Wednesday, Thursday? Are you sure? Oh, yeah. I could do the 29th then. Could we do the 28th? Only because my doctor's in the city, so I might be late. What time? Evelyn?
28th? Can-
28th? What
You think
time?
we'll be able to have the information that was requested before the 28th? Okay.
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. 28th it is.
Are you looking for an evening meeting, or
Could we do 1 o'clock?
what time do you want to meet?
That's a Tuesday, correct?
Wednesday.
It's a
Oh,
Wednesday.
that's a Wednesday?
Could we do like 1 o'clock?
Remember, I'm not promising I'll be back, though, just so you all know.
I'm available at 1 on that day.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, Wednesday, the
Good for you,
28th.
Rob?
Budget discussion, do you want me to advertise it as introduction of the budget? What are we doing?
I don't know. I messed it up last time, so I don't know.
If you advertise it as
You
in,
understand, depending on how you advertise.
If you advertise it with the potential for action being taken, if there's an agreement
Right.
amongst the consensus and
Right.
you advertise as such, then you would be able to take action to introduce the budget at that meeting if you so choose.
I would advertise
You can't advertise
introduction.
it and not do it. So you could advertise it with both and not do it?
You could advertise it and not do it, but you can't not advertise it and do it.
So
Like the last two
advertise
meetings.
it.
Yes. So advertise with, please.
I can't help myself, Miss Monica.
Yeah, I hear you.
I can't help.
So, are we done?
Yes.
Anything else?
Yep, I guess I continue on with the agenda.
What agenda we have?
Well, I'd like the, what's coming up, our upcoming meetings read into the record, the information
We're doing
read
that?
into the record.
Okay.
Municipal offices will be closed Friday, March 30th in observance for Good Friday. The public meeting Wednesday, April 4th, 2018, at 7 p.m. in the main meeting hall will be Trap, Neuter, Return, the TNR program. The Associated Humane Society will conduct a public meeting to inform Howell residents of the new Trap, Neuter, Return program, which addresses the growing feral cat population matter. The, I guess, next meeting date then is the 28th? Did we just say, at 1 o'clock?
Yes, Wednesday, March 28th, 1 o'clock. Special meeting for a
Yes.
discussion of the budget and potential introduction of the 2018 budget.
Thank you.
What would you like to do about April 3?
That's dependent upon the rest of the council. It doesn't matter to
There's
me.
nothing, I'm good with canceling.
I'm fine with canceling.
Fine, cancel April
I'm
3.
not fine with canceling it.
Keep April 3.
We're gonna need to have that meeting, believe me. I just want it on the record. I said we were gonna need to have that
Up to
meeting.
council.
Just put it on, just put it in my
minutes.
quotes.
Put in the minutes?
Put it in the minutes, send it to my wife.
I don't think that decision has to be made now.
No problem.
Just, no, no.
Yeah.
And the next regular meeting will be April 17th. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
All in favor?
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Now I wanna stay.
All right, Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes, please.